Greetings from all of us at the Cathedral of All Souls. I am the Reverend Millie Morrow, and I am canon for pastoral care at the Cathedral of All Souls in Asheville, North Carolina. I greet you today, and I hope that you find yourself well and healthy and in a place where you are loved. I come to you today wanting to share a pastoral message, especially with those of you that are struggling with addiction. In my prayer time this morning, I realized while it is our greatest commandment to love God and love our neighbor as ourselves, there are those among us who are struggling mightily to love ourselves. Addiction is a difficult reality, even on the best day. But we find ourselves during this time of social isolation to be in a particularly difficult time. And so it is to you that I speak today, those of you that find yourselves struggling with addiction. I want to say first, there are none of us that are without addictive behaviors. But for some of us, those addictive behaviors are a matter of life and death. And so it is from this place of wanting to see life and life abundantly that I come to you. First, I want to say that while we are isolated, you are not alone. We at the cathedral see you, and we love you, and we want for you life abundantly. I want to begin by saying that addiction is not a personal failure. Addiction is simply the maladjustment to an untenable situation. All of the behaviors that each of us have that are addictive came from a time in our lives when we knew nothing else to do. Those maladaptive behaviors, however, are death-dealing. Our adaptive behaviors are life-giving. And so, for so many of us, we have depended on communities of accountability to hold us firm in our life-giving behaviors. And perhaps we find ourselves now without that community of accountability, in a place of isolation, which can cause shame. And as we all know, shame feeds addictive behaviors. So I want to say to you that you are loved. You are loved exactly as you are. And there is help for you now within a community who loves you, who wants to stay connected with you. So I want to say that please find that community with us at All Souls. Reach out to us if you are in need, and please look for the resources that we have on our webpage about additional support that you can find in the national community and in the local community. But I want to speak briefly about the difference between maladaptive and adaptive behaviors. We all have both, but the adaptive behaviors that we have that are life-giving are so important right now. So important for us to remember, for us to hold on to, and for us to practice. They're going to be different for each of us, but we all have them. So one of the things I want to suggest to you today that I hope will help you to survive and to thrive during this time of social isolation is to be very clear about what your adaptive behaviors, the behaviors that give you life, what those behaviors are. Make a list of them, post them somewhere where you can see them every day, and try to practice at least 3 of those every day. And while we find ourselves without our communities of accountability, there are still saints all around us that are willing to help us, that will hold us up, and that will inspire us. So another thing I would like to suggest is that we all find pictures of people who inspire us towards our adaptive, life-giving behaviors. If we can, print those pictures out, post them around our houses so that we can see who it is that inspires us to live and to live abundantly during this time. The third thing I want to offer today is the concept of a sobriety warrior. We have often found our sobriety warriors within the context of the communities that we meet with daily or weekly. We may not be able to find them there now, but what I want to suggest to you is that they are within you. Each of us has a sobriety warrior that lives within us that will help us during this time. So I want to offer to you a practice where we connect with that sobriety warrior within us. So if you can now, find yourselves in a beautiful place. Find yourselves comfortable, grounded, wherever you find yourselves in that place, sitting on the floor or a couch or a chair. Ground yourself within that space. And if you are able, close your eyes and take in 3 deep breaths. I want you to imagine the sobriety warrior that helps you connect to the most adaptive behaviors that you have. I want you to find that sobriety warrior within you. Imagine them. Let an image rise in your heart of what that warrior looks like. Sit with that image. Where do you find your sobriety warrior? Where are they standing or sitting? Are they in a room? Are they outside? Are they in the house right now with you? Imagine them there in that place. Breathe into that place. Allow yourselves to join them there. Breathe with me as you greet this sobriety warrior. Let that image fill your body, your heart, your mind. Thank them for being there with you. Ask them for the help that you need in this moment. Imagine what they might say to you now in this time. Imagine what comfort they might offer to you. Imagine what courage they might offer to you. Breathe that courage in. Receive that courage. Thank you for loving yourself. Thank you for caring for yourself. Know that we see you. Know that we love you. Know that you are a child of the divine. Know that there is a warrior within every one of us that will help us to survive and thrive during this time. Please join me in prayer. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for this day. We offer ourselves to you humbled by a human reality, perhaps scared or sad, we offer ourselves to you just as we are. We ask that you grant us the courage and the wisdom to know how to live abundantly in this time. And we ask you to set our minds on a time when we will be reunited, one with another, knit together, standing strong. We ask you to give us peace, peace that passes all understanding. In the name of the divine and holy and present among us, we offer these prayers. Amen, and blessed be.